There's a microphone. Check, 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 check. Testing 1, 2, 3. It's a little low. Little low. Let's try that. Check, 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 check. Is that a little better? Little better, little better. Little better. It's a little better. Let's see, where are we here? Yeah, I can't see that, so we're not going to worry about that. And hello, Michael. Hello, Jono. Good to see you guys. Well, actually, I can't see you, but I see your names in the chat. Let's see. We've got the chat right here. Where is it? Yeah. Good times today. Indeed. You get here when you can. That's what I always say. If you can't be here on time, just get here when you can. Really excited about today's show. Really excited. Really excited. Do you hear the squeak in my chair? I've been working on that, but I can't find the right spot to lubricate. But that's all right. And excuse me just a second. Sandy has me on lemon water for all the good it's going to do me. Goodness gracious. So today's show has been interesting because I spent most of the pre-show or the prep for the show prep time, creating this graphic right here. And boy, it was not easy. It was not easy. And I think I found a bug in GT Title Designer. I'll have to submit that. Got a little video of the action. And I was, anyway, I'll get into all that later. It's good stuff. Apocalypse Ministries, welcome. Is this somebody I already know or somebody I need to meet? That's the question. We'll find out. So the whole idea about, I don't want to get into the show yet, doggone it. Because if I get into it now, then I won't have a show for the show. So it is what it is. It is somebody I already know. Well, good. So who is it? Oh, what a good day. It's Marcus. Oh my gosh. Marcus Mason, a blast from the past. How are you, my friend? So glad to have you here with us today. How are things going? I'm not waiting for an answer. I mean, you can answer if you want to, but delighted to have you with us. Sandy says that lemon water is good for what ails me. But nothing ails me. Marcus is doing great. All right. Very good. It's good to have you. It's good to have you. I hope I have something of interest for you. I doubt it. I doubt it. You know, the older I get, the dumber I get. You would say, you know, oh, Tom, you're supposed to get wiser. Well, I think I'm wiser in some ways, but I'm stupider in other ways. So it's the human condition. Yep. Some of us just fade away. I'll do my best not to fade away. So today we are going to talk. Oh, I can't start the show yet. Doggone it. Can't start the show. Can't start the show. Can't start the show. Oh my gosh. Anderson's here from sunny Barbados, where it's probably, what, 75 degrees. I'm just guessing. Fahrenheit. I don't know if you do Fahrenheit or Celsius down there in sunny Barbados. It was sunny here a couple of days ago. In fact, it got into the 80s one day last week. Of course, we had snow 2 weeks before that. So 3 weeks ago we had snow, and last week we had weather in the 80s. Go figure. Go figure. Jono wants to know if I'm looking forward to anything at NAB this year. Well, I don't think I'm going. So I'm not looking forward to seeing myself there. You know, that's a good question. What will we see? I wonder. vMix could have a alpha out then that they're showing. That's a possibility. I'd love to see that. Bird Dog, of course, is going to have a slew of new cameras. You know, they've obviously had to revamp their entire camera line since they lost their original supplier. And I think their new camera line is going to do well. I think it's going to do well. Jono's going to NAB. Good. Good. Oh, that's great. Maybe you can send us a report. What else do I expect to see at NAB, or what I would be looking forward to? Always looking forward to see what the X Keys folks are coming up with, for sure. Sad that Dan and Maggie are not there anymore, and Miranda. Sorry, Miranda. And it changes the dynamics when you lose some real strong personalities like that. PTZ Optics, going to be interested to see what they see. There you go. I'm interested to see if there is. I know that Blackmagic has made some steps forward with the ATEM, so I'd be interested to see what's going on in that kind of ecosystem. I know that there is a company there called Acme, or maybe there, called Acme Computers or Acme Portable, that I think they used to make the old vMix Go. So I would make a point of going by their booth and chatting with them and seeing what they're up to. I mean, the hardware is really expensive, but it's, solid aluminum case with all sorts of interior bracing and brackets for all the different devices that you would put in there. So it's very well built. I love my vMix Go. I had to rebuild it a little bit because it was based on 12-year-old technology, but that's okay. It's fun. I would be interested to see if the camera with frame rates of 120 frames a second or better are beginning to make their way into the industry, because that makes slow motion instant replay so much better when you've got a really smooth frame rate at 25% speed. So I know, who was it that somebody had 120 frame a second camera. It'll come to me. But I would like to see that. I remember the first time I went, that was back 2016, something like that. Drones were just coming out with cameras on them. And so they had all these nets set up, kind of like an arena football league, except smaller. And so they were flying the drones inside the nets. That was pretty fun. I'd like to see if there's any news or anything different on the Tesla cars that make the journey underground from one side of the road to the other side of the road to get to whatever the other plaza is, pavilion. That's always fun. Yeah, so good. I'd love to hear what you think. Love to hear what you see. It would have been fun to be there. I don't think that's the right place for me at this moment. Let's see. We got a few minutes here left. What, 3 minutes-ish? 3 minutes-ish. I don't know if you can see behind me. Yeah. There's Rooney. I did a show, golly, probably 8 years ago when NDI was first coming out. And Panasonic, I think it was Panasonic, came out with a camera they said was NDI compatible. Well, it wasn't NDI compatible. If you hooked it up to an NDI converter, it was NDI compatible. And I parodied them using Rooney. I've got a phone here that's making noise. We better turn that off. And hold on. There we go. by putting a leash on Rooney and saying that it was an NDI leash. So now Rooney was NDI compatible. And then I found a video online of a dog that had a GoPro mounted, I guess, you know, on his head or on his collar or something like that. And he was scooting all around. So I brought that in as Rooney on NDI leash. And shortly after that, I don't know that I ever saw the Panasonic saying that they were NDI compatible again. That was really pretty funny. That was funny. Yes, that's right. There's always a squirt. Drone with NDI SRT built in. Oh yeah, yeah. How would it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would work. Hello, Jan. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you. I'm well. I don't know about the rest of this crew. Holy cow, no telling. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you. And then it's Bill from the Gulf of America. He says the Mississippi coast, but that's okay. All right, we're winding down here. So let's hit the right button and open the show. What do you say? We'll do it early today. Ta-da! I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks so much to Martin K for making that. That is, I think he made that close to almost 10 years ago. Thank you, Martin. It is priceless and it is timeless. It is timeless. All right. So today I want to talk. Let me sit up a little straighter here. Today I want to talk about the green room. That's right. You saw it appear right behind me. Let's get out of the way here. I'll show you the big picture in just a second. But the idea that I had was that you would develop something, and let me do a screen capture here. If I got a desktop capture I can use. Let's desktop capture this. But we'll do this. Is that going to be right? Yeah, there we go. All right, so here's desktop capture. And my thought was that if you had as many as 8 vMix callers, and so let's add some callers here. We'll get that out of the way for just a second. And we're going to take, we'll take that one, 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 that one. And we'll bring in these people. Boom, boom. And we're going to make those people part of a green room. So I'll bring in a blank. And we're going to just do a layers. We'll do 9 layers. And then we'll bring in our people. This will take a minute. Try to get a good smorgasbord of different people of different ages and different colors and different sexes. Let's see, 87, 88, 89. So let's go to 90. And I was thinking earlier, you know, some of these people, boy, I'd like to meet them. They look like interesting people. And we'll do 92. And we're thinking that 93, that all of these people are going to be on our show. 94. And let's bring in one more. There we go. And we'll bring in, did that one come in? It did, but it hasn't shown up on this list yet. That's all right. All right, so we'll close the list. We'll open the list back again, and we'll bring in the last one. There he is. There's Rooney. There's Rooney. Okay, so now we've got these people, and they're going to be talking with us on our show. 8 of them are vMix callers, and one of them, Rooney, is the local producer. And the idea is that we need a place where these people can talk pre-show or post-show, or maybe they're only being introduced and brought into the show one person at a time. And so we need a way for them to interact with the producer so that, you know, they know what's going on, and they can kind of be clued into what's going on. So let's go back and let's add an input, one more input here. And this is going to be an image. There it is. Because I just made this as an image. There we go. That's it right there. And this is the green room. And so this is what all of the people would see as they were, oh, let's do something else fun to this one. Let's do a desktop capture, and let's add into the middle of this one right here, let's add the output. So we're going to go in here and we'll just start here, and I think there is an output input. Yeah, there it is right there. And we want to make it smaller. And we want to just put it right in the middle of our room so that people can see, and maybe they can hear too, what the output looks like. So in this case, they're just going to see they're going to see themselves going off to infinity. And now they would see me. Now, how can I get that? That is number 97. Well, let's just put that up at the corner of the screen so that you can see what it looks like too. So we're going to add a layer. Oh, I know what let's do. Does it show back there? No, it doesn't, but it will. Number 85. 85 is right there. So let's put 97 in place back there. There we go. All right, so you can now see over my shoulder, if I get out of the way. Whoops. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? 85. Should it be 97? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Just kind of had to refresh it. Oh, it's still not showing up there, is it? Isn't that interesting? It shows up there. Well, that's what it looks like right there. Except it doesn't look like that. Oh, I know what let's do. Let's just change it to not be output. Let's pretend like this were the main shot. Is that going to do it? No. Oh, it didn't take. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Main shot. Main shot. Is that going to take? Isn't that something? It's not going to work. It's going to revert back to output. So let me see if is there a way for you guys to see what I'm doing. Let's go to desktop capture. There we are. And let's just bring me up there. And then we're going to go back down to the bottom here to this green room picture. And we want to change it. Well, let's just take it out like that. And let's add the main shot. Huh. And the main shot is not showing up. It's just blank. Isn't that crazy? We'll have to think about why that is later. The main shot. Well, let's try number 27, because that's the camera. Layers. It just disappeared. 27 is the camera. No. Oh, well. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Oh, I know what's going on now. There we go. That's what we wanted to do. There we go. Got it. Crazy. Crazy guy. All right, so that's what I would imagine it would look like. Of course, this box would be squared off. I don't know why it's angular. And the title is going to be right above it, green room, obviously, so you know where you are. And this is going to be a pop-out, like the audio mixer is a pop-out, like instant replay is a pop-out, like the list is a pop-out. And it'll pop out. Let's see, can we do a screen capture of another screen? Well, let's set it up real quick. Boy, I thought I was all set for this. You know how that goes. Desktop capture, local desktop, display 2, is that the one we want? Yeah. No, that's display 3. Hang on, bear with me. You know, you just never know what you're going to get around here. Okay, that's the one I want. All right, so this is what's on my second monitor right now. And I have a mouse that wants to stop working. There we go. I have an image here. I had an image. What happened to my image? Let's go find it. I closed it for some reason. Let's go to, is it on the desktop? Is that where I put it? I think it is, yes. Okay, so let's just open that. There we go. And this would be the pop-out. So this would be just like the replay pop-out, where you could make it go full screen if you wanted to. And then you would have the ability, each one of these people would be able to talk. And let's see, oh yeah, each one of these people would be able to talk. Or you could mute them. You could mute them individually. Or if it was just an empty chair and you were waiting for them to connect, you would mute them. Each one of these C1 name, C1 title is, of course, this is generated in GT Title Designer. So those would be just a right click right there, and you would be able to add the title, add the name and add the title. And you could add other things to this if it were appropriate. But the trick with all this, and I can't really show that, the trick with all this is that the audio is handled behind the scenes. So the routing of each of these eight individuals, each of these 8 callers, their audio would be routed into this green room and could be muted in the green room and would not appear in the live show until they were allowed to go live. And there would probably have to be another button in here, you know, one of these buttons that would say live, a tick box that would send them live. And then the other thing I imagine is that there would be a series of, let's go back to this look for just a second, a series of pre-made boxes. In some ways, similar, and let's go back to this for just a second, and I'll put myself there. Sorry about that. Goodness gracious, I need to get my sneeze button back. There would be a series of pre-made boxes that would do, let's see, let's just pull up a blank right here. And so we're going to come in here to layers, and there would be layers like this, but that they would already be configured with the various inputs in them. So we wouldn't have to go in and put in, you know, our different people. Let's see, let's go with a 4-box. So we wouldn't have to do all this in order to have our guests on the show. Yeah, let's see. Is that the good? Nope, we've already got that guy. There we go. So then we would have this show like this, but everybody that wasn't in the show would see this, and in the picture in here they would see whatever was going on in the show, and there would be the ability to bring the show audio into this. So there would have to be a button in here somewhere that allowed the show audio to come in, or maybe a volume meter to adjust the volume of the show audio. This is going to be the producer down here, so they're going to be able to talk to all 8 people. And you know, there could be a situation where you wanted to have a private meeting with somebody in the green room. So you know, there would be a way that you would select one of your participants, and it would might just be a little checkbox for private conversation. And you check that checkbox, or maybe you check it, you know, for 4 people, and then you have the ability to go to a 4-person shot like that. Or maybe you just do it to 1 person, so that you've got, let me set up something here real quick and dirty, a blank. Let's go to, oh, you need to see what I'm doing, don't you? I would want to see all this. So let's go back here, and I've got a blank right here, and I'm going to add some layers to it, where it's going to be a 2-person shot. And so I'm going to add the layer of one of the people that I want to speak with. It's a 2-person shot. There we go, 2-person shot. And then, of course, the producer. Where's the producer? Right there. There we go. So we end up with a shot like that that allows the producer and one of our guests to talk, between themselves. And then there would be a way on this green room cutout, or this green room pop out. Let's see, hold it. Where is it? Right here. Here we go. That would allow us to enter into a private conversation, and then to exit out of the private conversation. But meanwhile, this room would still be active. So it could get complicated. It could get complicated very quickly. But the most complicated thing about it is the routing of the audio, because the audio is what is the most difficult part of this. Now, you and I can very easily set up this as a show format and talk with everybody in the show just fine. But when we start talking about having an off-air conversation with somebody, then we start talking about routing audio over some of the buses. Now, fortunately, Martin Sinclair was thinking ahead, and so we have an A, B, C, D, E. How many buses do we have? Do we have that many? Let's see. Let's go into let's go find our buses. Doggone it. I should remember things like this off the top of my head. All right, so we'll go into settings. We'll go to audio outputs, and we see that we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 buses plus headphones is 1, so that's 8. We really need one more bus. That way you've got a bus for each of your callers. And is there a way to add another? I mean, does that max something out so that it's not sustainable, so that it won't work? Of course, you figure if you're talking about 8 callers, you're talking about vMix Pro, and anybody that's running vMix Pro is not running vMix Pro on a low-end PC. They've got a lot of horsepower, because there's a reason for them running vMix Pro, whether it's instant replay or 8 callers or whatever it is. They want to have vMix Pro. They intend to have vMix Pro, and so they've got hardware to match. So could we squeak out one more audio channel on this and have 8 channels plus headphones and main output or master output? And then you can route it. I mean, I know there is the audio. Let's see. Let's go back to this for just a second. We're going to go back here. We'll come down here and we'll go to the audio bus manager. We've got the audio bus manager. And so we can route our audio this way, but it's not something that's going to be easy for somebody, especially somebody that's not an audio person. I am not an audio person. I'm becoming a little bit of an audio person out of necessity. But I remember Mike Phillips trying to explain to me the difference between inputs and outputs. And it was just like rocket science. And then he started talking about mix minus. And that was, you know, that was a bridge too far. It took me, a non-audio person, it took me a month before it finally clicked. And I was like, oh, ins, outs. And then a mix minus is kind of like an out without an in. Anyway, for people that are just beginning in their broadcast career and you know, are brand new users of vMix, because they're doing it for their probably the most applicable is going to be somebody that's doing a talk show out of their basement or their guest bedroom or wherever. And they want the ability to do some of these things, but they don't necessarily have the knowledge of how audio works enough, or really the time, if they're going to be, you know, the producer and the talent and the engineer, and you know, the ad sales guy and all this other kinds of thing. They're not going to necessarily have all that time. And then there'll be people that are already doing a good size show and realize, hey, they really do need a vMix to take the place of what they've cobbled together using, you know, other software or hardware. And they come into it, and it would really make that transition for them a lot easier. And in fact, might even draw them to vMix as a new owner, a new user in vMix. If they could move kind of laterally from what they're using now to something that would be even easier to use, and would have a lower learning curve. And that's my value proposition, is that it really would make a difference to the folks that are watching, the people that are already doing some of this, to get up and running on something like this really, really quickly without having to do a bunch of shortcuts or triggers or what else would there be? Shortcuts, triggers, scripts, to make all this happen, to have this sort of, you know, pre-done. Serve it to me on a platter. Don't make me work. Don't make me work for this. Don't make me try to figure out something that I don't understand in order to make it work, because that's not my specialty. Yeah, that's what it is. Don't make me learn something new in order to be successful with this. Just show me how to do it and I'll do it. But don't make me learn how to route audio, because that really is the job for a professional. That's the story behind this right here. That's the story behind this right here. This is the bomb. Now, it may not look like this. Obviously, it's not going to look like this. It's going to look totally different from this. But it will have the images. It will have their names and titles. And the name, of course, the name could be just picked up from the vMix call. And of course, oh, here's the other thing. We want this to work with Zoom as well. So that complicates it again at another level. Audio becomes even more tricky, I believe. But yeah, there's the green room. In fact, I'd love the green room to be able to set up to acquire a desktop capture. With vMix's new ability to bring in an audio input that's from a either from a system. What is it called? Let's go back here. Come on, Tom. Stay with the program. Let's go back to a desktop capture. We'll just put us there for a second. We go to add input, bottom left-hand corner. We want to make a audio input, and there's our list. And our list includes application audio. So if we're bringing in a Skype caller, we can pick up the application audio from that Skype caller. I'm going to pick application audio, and now I can see I've got all of these applications that have audio associated with them one way or another. And I can bring that in. Yep. That's the story. That's the story. What do you think? What do you think? Let's close out the show, go to post-show. I'm dying to see what your thoughts are. And we can do this. Can we do this? Can we really do this? We can do this. Hot dog. Hot dog. All right, let's go back in here and let's see. Let's go back to the beginning of the list. Pick up where we left off. You do know that smorgasbord comes from Danish. Smorgasbord. I did not, but I do like Danish. That's what we call some pastries here in the U.S. We call them Danish. All right, Jan says, green room audio in one channel, live audio on the second channel. There you go. There you go. You could do that. You could do stereo. Green room channel on the left, live audio on the right. I mean, just saying. Yes. I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe 3, on the Streaming Alchemy show, that John Mahoney showed how to use vMix scripting, and he was going into the XML files to pull out all sorts of things, names of fields and things like that. And it was tons of scripting, but it worked. It worked. But that's what I'm saying. It's a bridge too far for me and for tons of other people. And dialed in the ability for the producer to talk to individually to each participant. That's right. That's right. That's right. Or groups of them. And that, that obviously complicates it a little bit. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But the key word in that, Jan, is enough. And that automatically takes it out of the reach of 90% of the folks that are using vMix or might want to use it. vMix is not the easiest software to learn until you learn it. And once you kind of get a feel for it, and then it just unfolds. I mean, that was my experience. It was just like, whoa, what is all this? There's nothing here. I got to go find it. It's buried in all these menus. I'm a visual person. If I put something in a file drawer, it's forgotten about forever. If it's not out where I can see it, it ceases to exist. So learning vMix was a real trial for me. But once I got the swing of it, once I found out what drawers everything was stored in, I could do that. But scripting is not, I mean, I'm not a coder. And scripting is something that you really have to be focused in on. And you have to understand how the software works to begin with, how the inputs and the outputs work so far as audio is concerned. And that would be just a big deal. For the last year, his day job has turned into 50% Excel and PowerPoint and 50% scripting. Wow. 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 Maybe it's time to dive into some more vMix stuff. I agree. It could be very fun. It could be very fun. Okay, let's see. Rundown clock. Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Yes, you got to have a local time. You've got to have a timer. Producer to hear people in the green room and be able to pick and talk back to one or all or groups. I would say or groups. And Jan is not saying absolutely to my groups, but rather to Michael's discussions. And Jesper is here. Welcome. And Michael says, ability to easily transfer a vMix caller from one PC to another without losing connection. Oh, my. Tell me more. What do you mean? You mean take your callers in on one PC and transfer them to another? I think that's what John Mahoney was doing with that script. He was having it come in on one. And in fact, I even played with that as a way to pop out of the 8 caller limit and actually came up with a 16 caller plan at one point, but I never really pursued it. I missed this one somehow. Sorry about that. Automatic adjustment of the show to have the number of active participants and no empty boxes. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, and that's kind of like with a Zoom call, a big Zoom call. And breakout rooms. Oh, that's interesting, Scott. I hadn't thought about breakout rooms, but yeah, you could have the ability to have 2 green rooms. If you had a big debate going on, and you'd have all the green people over here and all the yellow people over here, and then you could bring them in. Yeah. That's right. With the green room concept, you almost need a second set of buses dedicated to the back of the house. Yeah, I mean, it could get complicated really quickly. All right, Michael says you don't need 8 buses. You could just route to a private bus or a common green room bus or the live bus. Okay. I like that. I like that. I'm thinking through how that would work, but I like that. Jesper has done some scripting for a simple 9-person green room. I love it. A simple 9-person green room. That's what mine was, a simple 9-person green room. All right, Xavier says, welcome, Xavier. I believe vMix Call already does mix minus. That's true. So you may not need that many buses except for private conversations or if you brought enough people in via Teams or Zoom. Oh, there you go. I forgot about Teams. Now, vMix does Zoom in a, what's the right word for it? vMix does Zoom. vMix has Zoom built in. Doesn't have Teams built in, so you would have to do a screen capture and an audio capture on that. And that's where the mix minus kind of comes in. All right, this is the person I was thinking of most of all when I said that. Kent Kowalski. Tom, I know in the past I asked you a way to create audio phone call feature because we can bring in audio from our desktop. Can we use Zoom? Can Google Voice as a way to take audio callers? Absolutely, absolutely. But it's just routing that audio, Kent. It's if you've got Google Voice, and now that vMix will allow you to take a system audio. So if you've got Google running in a window in vMix, I mean in your PC, you don't have to do a what do we call that thing? A virtual audio cable. vMix just picks up that audio, and then there's you have to get an audio back into Zoom, so you may have to use an audio virtual audio cable for that. But yes, I see that working, and even easier now than ever before. Scott says, when I built green rooms before, it was because the talent, the politicians, didn't want to be with everyone before air. This would need to think of that mode too. So their own kind of personal green room instead of a big green room for everybody. Okay, good feedback, good option right there. Good option right there. I like that idea because that that gives somebody the ability to sit and watch whatever's going on and then be able to talk with the producer. And so they're never really part of the big bullpen green room. Does anyone still use Skype? I'm sure somebody must. I would envision Teams, Zoom, WhatsApp, etc. Yes, but at that point, it doesn't matter. It's either vMix Call and Zoom, which are built into vMix, or anything else outside of vMix, which would include Teams. And I've worked with lots of folks to, get Teams calls into vMix and to get vMix into Teams calls. It's just one of those things. It's just a lot of virtual audio cables. That's right. I agree with that, definitely. Because Teams has got they went through a lot of security certification that I don't think Skype ever went through. Kent, I think Ed is catching a hold of your idea. So I think we did a cell phone call maybe 8 years ago, just plugging into the audio on the cell phone. It was fun. Green room for Zoom would be a great ad for what I do, says Bill Connor at Bill Connor Motorsports. The one John remembers was not, the one Jan remembers was not John. but was inspired from John. Oh, really? So I missed that one. If anybody digs it up, I'd love to see it. And Jan, was that with vMix, or was that using some other product? All right, Bill says, when a person in the green room goes live, they need to be removed from the green room audio and some visual that they are live. That's a good point, Bill. So they automatically get muted in the green room, and their live image gets replaced with a placeholder that says live now or something like that. I like that. I like that a lot. That's a great idea. Scott says, being able to use 2 vMix computers would be a solution for this. How so? Can't just throw that out there without putting some meat on the bone. You know, if you've got all your callers coming in on PC 1, but you're mixing the show and recording it and streaming it on PC 2, then maybe PC 2 just gets the callers that go live, and PC 1 just has everybody in a green room, or individual green rooms or whatever. At some point, Scott, I think I see what you're getting at. At some point, the producer who is interacting with the callers, with the guests, the producer has to really focus in on the callers and, you know, what's coming up in the run of show, you know, getting callers ready to go on, and probably doesn't have the time or focus to switch the show. So, and it's, in a lot of ways, it's like vMix Replay, where you can use vMix Replay with one PC, but if you really want to do a lot with Replay, you have to put it on a second PC. This could be the same way. Although the talent could handle the switching, but probably not the producing. Yeah. Whereas with Replay, the TD can handle the switching and probably pop in some replays. I mean, not that it's going to be the best thing in the whole world, but that, yeah. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Well, I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't have more experience, but it was a necessity because, you know, before vMix Call, that was the only way you could bring in a guest in. It was to have a lot of virtual audio cables. All right. Xavier says, Teams allow individual outputs with NDI. I just did it this week. You have to enable it. And is that NDI video and audio? And if you're getting the audio, are you getting just that one individual's audio, or are you getting the full team meeting audio? I'd heard at first that you were getting the whole team meeting audio. You weren't getting just the individual's audio, but it's been a year since I've looked at that. In Teams and the global ad and on the business plan. Okay. So it's probably a high dollar product. Oh, the voice of reason here. Before going crazy in features, one might need to focus on what would be needed for people to get connected. Do audio checks, etc., before joining the live stream. We're not looking for a conference system. Well, that's true. That's true. We're not looking for a conferencing system. And that would be that one-on-one box between a producer and a caller to get the tech check handled. And it would not necessarily mean that everybody had to go in the green room, but I think would go into a multi-person green room. But I think there's value in that. I think there's value in a multi-person green room. If you imagine a conference or a news show or a variety show, a talk show, where before guests are introduced, before they're brought on stage, they're backstage, and they're talking with people, or being alone. I think, yeah, I think there's value in that. Anyway, I just think there's value. But I agree. We got to have tech check. Also, for the vMix caller in the green room to signal a sound and visible to the producer when they need to get attention. Aha. So a raise the hand button or a help me button, or just something, a red blinking light that says, take me into a room by myself and help me answer all these questions that I don't want to ask in front of everybody else. I like it. I like it. All right. Jesper says Teams can do NDI in and out. Okay. And my question was very specific. If you've got 5 people on a team call, can all 5 of them come in as an NDI into vMix with just their individual audio? Or is it the group audio that becomes the audio for each person? That's just me being picky. Skype may survive because NewTek and Skype collaborated and built a hardware device. Ah, that's right. I remember that. Haven't heard of it in a while. I haven't heard of it in a while. And I think John Mahoney did that. He built a box and wrote the scripts and software to interface with TriCaster with Skype. All right, Jan said the guy he was talking about did it to serve his own needs and was never made publicly accessible. Huh. Well, yeah, that is unfortunate. But he did it in vMix with scripting and nothing else. So there you go. Just lay it on out there and do it. Kent says the problem is the routing of the audio caller to Zoom or vMix call. You're talking about on a telephone. And it really is, it can be a problem. You're a great example for this. Some people have ideas that they want to put into practice, they want to put into effect, but the routing of audio is a bridge too far. And how to make it go from point A to point B without showing up in point C and getting in audio unwanted from point D. I get it. I get it. All right. Michael and Jan are having a private conversation, which they're doing in public. Jan had a great help from an English guy on Green Room, Phil Manson. Is that the guy you're thinking of? Aha. Is that the guy? Not sure. So long ago. If you need a green room, your crew is more than one person. There you go. There you go. It would be difficult to do it with just one person as TD. I agree with that, Scott. But it doesn't mean it's not valuable. Jan is answering Kent, saying that's really not a problem. A few outbound virtual audio cables is all you need. And while I agree, you know, Jan can say to Kent, here's a wrench, you know, here's 5 different wrenches. That doesn't mean that Kent knows exactly what to do with each one of those wrenches to make it work. I agree. We have the tools. We do have the tools. vMix right now has the tools. And we can build a house with the tools. But some of us are not house builders, but we need to use the house. And I'm just saying, bring it out there. Make it work without us having to make it work. And then we'll buy the program again. 2 computers could work with making all inputs available over NDI on the green room computer. Agreed. It's just tricky routing that audio. It's just tricky routing the audio. If you've got a producer, oh, I see. You're just talking about sending all the audio over to the main PC from the green room PC. Yeah. Yep. I agree. And you know, there are probably people out there doing this right now all by themselves, and they're thinking, you know, why don't you just do it? Why don't you just write it and make it work? And yeah, Xavier says both audio and video and individual. Okay. There you go. That's great. And then it's a question of, can you change their on a Teams individual, how do you select the audio that goes to that Teams individual? Or is that something the Teams individual has to select? No, they're just talking. They're talking and they're listening. But how do you determine what they get to listen to? I haven't played with Teams in a while, so that's probably why. Okay. Jan says, my default studio template includes integration for Teams and Zoom, both at the same time, and vMix calls added as needed. There you go. That's great. But Jan, you have to admit, you're not the average bear. Here in the US, and perhaps you guys got it too, there was a cartoon, an animated show in the probably 60s and 70s called Yogi Bear. And Yogi Bear was in, I guess it was Yellowstone National Park, although they may have called it like Jellystone National Park or something like that. And he had an affection for picnic baskets, except he called them picnic baskets. And he was smarter than your average bear. So, Jan, you are smarter than the average bear. As are most of the people in this audience, including Scott Sledger. I can see having a producer manage vMix A to receive and prep talent isolated from the production. Then when time to send the caller, when time, send the caller to the production computer to appear live. Yes, I could see that too. And you've probably done that. The problem, will be the handoff between the computers. I use Zoom in breakout rooms to handle this now. Yeah, that does become a question of whether that second, do you get that second computer out of the loop somehow? Does that first computer really have all of the callers already there, except they're just all muted on the first computer, and they're involved in a conversation on the green room computer, and then they're just enabled by a script. It does get complicated all of a sudden. I don't think so. I think NewTek is going to become a software company. They already are. They already are. The question is, will they eventually stop making hardware? John is throwing out a challenge. Could be fun to try this all in scripting. Scott, man, I love you, but that's not my idea of fun. My idea of fun is to open it up, and it's already built, and I get to use it. I really just want vMix to write this for me. That's it. Just make a Tom's Green Room, and you don't have to give it to anybody else. Just give it to me. And that's my point too. My point too is, Jan says, my point is we have what we need in vMix if we're creative enough. And my point is, I don't want to be creative enough. I want to have it right there. I don't want to have to build the car in order to drive it. I don't want to have to build the house in order to live in it. I just want to buy it. I'm lazy. And I'm not the only one. Jeep and Dave, welcome. No, sir, I don't think it's on the schedule. Don't think it's going to be on the schedule, but I'm going to miss it for sure. It's a great show. In fact, I went to a show. Jan helped me out. 2017 in Amsterdam, and met Jan and Marie, and a bunch of other folks. I don't remember who else I met back then. Jan and Marie and Sandy and I had a lovely dinner at a castle somewhere. It was really, really, really fun. Great memory. Great memory. Okay, let's see. Maybe I should join the show from work one evening and show the audio setup. Well, you could show us. You could. We could do that. You can do that next week. I think there are people that say yes. Let's do it. Smarter than your average bear. Ken says, Tom, I totally agree with you. I need step-by-step directions for the virtual cable. I am a novice audio guy. Kent is a novice audio guy that is very humble. And Kent and I have known each other over telephone and Skype and, other things for probably 10 or 12 years. And Kent, I am still a novice audio guy. I am. Yep. Well, there's somebody that's going to join in to help. Kent, take them. Mighty Mouse. Oh, Mighty Mouse was my absolute favorite cartoon. Favorite cartoon, probably 1959, 1960, 1961. Mighty Mouse. Here I am to save the day. Here I am to save the day. You know that Mighty Mouse is on the way, or something like that. Golly gee. Tom is a Windows guy, and Scott and Jan is more of a Linux C whatever that is, C hash mark coding guy. Yeah, I'm not even a Windows guy. I'm just a path of least resistance guy. I just like things to be done so that I can use them. Excuse me. All right, so Jan is taking this invitation seriously. He needs to start prepping, making a drawing on audio routing, but once you guys see it, you'll realize that I'm not that smart. Well, Marie might agree with that, but I doubt if the rest of us would. That's funny. 2019. Okay, that's when it was. So that's been 6 years, man. No, well, it would have been in the fall of 2023, so it would have been 4 years. No, it's been long. It's been longer than that. Ernesto, welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you. Hope you're following our conversation at all. We have what we need means to make a turnkey template that everyone can load and use. Oh. Oh. Oh, yes. Yes. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. But it means that you have to understand how to use the tool and to have a concept of how the tool is going to help you do the job. The world has changed. The world has changed just a tad since 2019. Holy cow. I mean, really, I don't even want to go back and count. Wow. Yes. All right. Scott says, with the packaging of shows, now it would be possible to set up a template for others. Yes. And what Jan is talking about, I think, is a vMix preset that would be plug and play. I mean, he calls it a turnkey template, but I think it could be organized into a preset. I'm so glad that our client streams sermons or sports. Yeah. Oh, come on, Dave. Don't give me that. You would love this. And you've been part of it. Yeah. I think Dave was on that call that we did 2015 maybe, where we did 8 vMix callers all at one time. Ken Riker was on that. I talked to Ken on the phone the other day. Who else was on that? Tommy was on that. Eric Tabor. Eric has built a vMix, what do they call it? Obtainium PC base. Have you built it yet? You don't want to provide support for the. Well, see, that's the thing. If it's all written, I mean, if it's part of vMix as opposed to something that somebody created like Jan, not to say Jan's not smart, but Martin Sinclair is smarter than all of us. Maybe put together. Yes. Uh-oh, Dave. Scott has used green rooms with sports announcers and halftime analysts. Wow. Okay. It's creeping in. John McConey has the scripting code and settings, etc., in a package for each show. It can be done. Yes, it can be done. But John Mahoney is also an exemplary mind, a coder. Yes, yes. I remember having, it was either lunch or breakfast with him at NAB probably 4 years ago, and just was in awe, just like, the great John Mahoney would have a meal with me. It was very cool. It was very cool. Eric Tabor. Why use 100 words explaining what's going on when it can just use one and answer the question that I asked? Did you build it? He says yes. Are you using it? Is it working? How is it working? What works best? What works worst? What didn't work like you expected it to work? What worked better than you expected it to work? What problems have you run into? What problems have you solved? Answer all those questions, Eric. Or better yet, come on the show and let's talk about it. And you can share what you've done. Unless you're planning on selling these, then you may want to not do that. But he's a simple yes will do. A simple yes will do. All right, am I wearing you guys out? Or have you worn yourselves out? That's a good thing. That would be a level of support that would be really high, Dave. Working on automating graphics for sports. Okay, when you're ready, give me the word. I'm not a coder, just a script kid and an old body. Your body's not that old. Not that I've been watching it or anything. C#, thank you. Good question. Toying with providing director minis and what that would entail from a training and support perspective. What do you mean director minis? Like a Mini Cooper? Or a mini donut? I mean, yeah. Don't be so coy, Dave. All right, I got to wrap this thing up. I have loved hanging out with you today, but I have to call an end to it because I just have to get on to other things. Got a PC back here that I'm working on for TC. Got to finish that up. So, loved hanging out with you guys. It's the highlight of my week. And Magewell Director Mini. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. Great discussion. Yes. And good show. Absolutely. Absolutely. Not sure about C++, but VB, which is a scripting language, for those of you that know less than I do, which is probably not many, but mostly using PowerShell. All right. Gunnar, welcome. Glad you're here. Scott, likewise. Appreciate you guys being here. And oh, I know a favor you could do for me, if you would, is to do the like button thing, so that other people can discover our great conversations. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Jesper. Oh, that's me. Yeah. All right. Love to take your call, sir. Oh, I know. I know. Rich would have benefited from this. He'll show up later. He'll show up later. Okay. Good. Catch you guys on the flip side.